Welcome to the Herd's official YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the Colin Cowherd podcast, all of our NFL instant reactions, and more football content.
And with that, Urban Meyer, record-setting Big Noon ratings. Things are going well in college football. You know, it's funny, Urban. NIL, transfer portal, college football playoffs. Everybody freaked out it's going to hurt college football, and we keep breaking records. I thought the weekend was amazing. And one thing that jumped out to me with Arch Manning, I mean, listen, inexperienced, Buckeyes are great. It's in Columbus. But, Urban, you've been coaching quarterbacks forever. It didn't look as much jitters. It was mechanics. It was arm slot. I thought it was jarring to look at. I thought he was a bit overwhelmed. When you watched it, did you think it was more Matt Patricia, environment, Buckeyes secondary? Like, what went wrong? What gave Arch, in your opinion, the most trouble?
Well, the reality is that the quarterbacks get far too much credit and far too much blame. There weren't people open, Colin. The Matt Patricia and the Buckeye defense, I don't want to say I was shocked because they lost 5 or 6 players and a coordinator, and they looked phenomenal. But I went back, Colin, and I watched every snap of Arch Manning. And I keep hearing about, potential first pick in the NFL draft, Heisman Trophy. And I keep saying, stop this. That's not fair to this guy. This guy, if you put any other name on the back of his jersey, let him grow as a player. He'll be a much different player in 4 to 5 weeks. He wasn't ready for that. But either was Julian saying, you can't be ready for that. Someone said, well, he started 2 games. I said, no, he didn't. This is his first start. When you're playing Mississippi State, that was not very good last year, and another team, those don't count as you're starting in a horseshoe in front of, millions of people on TV. So he'll be fine. I was a little disappointed with the offensive skill at Texas. I didn't see guys open. I didn't see the explosiveness you expect out of. So there's a couple common denominators of a great quarterback, and they'd all say it. They got great players around them. And maybe there are. I didn't see that. I did. And maybe, once again, we're going to find out more in the next few weeks. Really not in the next few weeks, in about 4 or 5 weeks when they get in the SEC, because they both got Ohio State and Texas have soft schedules for a minute. But the common denominator is the great explosive player around Arch. I didn't see that.
Sark said after the game, and I was told this recently, that in the college football, as a defensive coordinator, stop the run, and if you do, you're going to win a lot of games. In the NFL, as a defensive coordinator, you better stop the pass because almost every team's got a guy that can sling it. So right. Matt Patricia has been dealing with the best quarterbacks in the world. Now he goes to college. When you looked at every snap, Sark said it was elite. Did he disguise his coverages? What did you see about Matt Patricia's defense that could be problematic for a young quarterback?
I see multiple positions. So you see like a Caleb Downs that can play will linebacker. He can play deep half and a safety. And then they did a bunch of what you call simulated pressure. And the simulated pressure is when they bring a linebacker or a secondary player, yet play zone behind it. Arch Manning's been training as a quarterback, I imagine, since he could say hello because of the Manning family. And normally when you get a 5 to 6 man pressure, there's going to be man coverage behind it, or there's going to be voided zones. Ohio State did a brilliant job of bringing pressure, but there was actually 7 people in coverage. So it looked like pressure. It smelled like pressure. It was pressure, but it wasn't in coverage. They were dropping people underneath that were twice I caught. And like I said, I went back and watched every snap over and over again. Arch got caught on one side of the formation thinking that it was a fire zone or even a man coverage, and it wasn't. It was too deep, and he got caught and he got sacked. So I thought he did a great job, Matt Patricia.
Yeah. So I was shocked because I think Kalen DeBoer is an excellent coach, but I said that this week. I said the SEC is, you acknowledged you had health issues. It's just tough. The intensity, the criticism, the recruiting wars that aren't always for years and years on the up and up, it can eat up really good coaches. And I think Kalen DeBoer is a great coach, but something didn't look right, Urban. They couldn't run. That the effort, something didn't look right with Bama. Can you explain it?
Yeah, Kalen DeBoer has been great to me. I think his record speaks for himself, but he's in it now. And I watch closely, Mark Ingram's on our show, and we talk about it all the time. When the word not running to the ball, not giving great effort comes out of your mouth, and you say the word Alabama after that, that doesn't compute. That hasn't happened in a long time. And I'm worried about Alabama right now. I saw things that are signs that there's something either in the locker room, there's something, I made this comment on Big Noon, I believe, that he better have some grown-ass men in that locker room. Ryan Day, when they lost to the Wolverines last year, they flipped it around. You know why? And everybody gives the coaches credit. I get it. But in that locker room were some grown-ass men that weren't going to put up with that. And I don't know Alabama well enough, and I challenge Mark Ingram with this, who's in that locker room? Because a coach is a coach. I get it. But at some point, those veteran, and I use the term grown-ass men, better show up in that locker room and get that right. Coaches can't get that right. Coaches do the best they can, but the players play.
Yeah. Listen, college coach and pro coaches, they're really different. And a lot of it is just this, is that, a lot of NFL coaches, Andy Reid doesn't have to draft. He can work play design. He doesn't have to worry about the cap. He doesn't have to play design, culture, play calling. Sometimes some coaches don't do that. At the college level, you are responsible for personnel. And I don't think there's a lot of great coaches who are great at personnel. You were. Nick Saban was darn good. I think I would say Jimmy Johnson was really good. I think Sean Payton's got a feel for it. I think Jim Harbaugh's got a little bit of a feel for it. But I watched Belichick, and my take is, okay, it's one thing to lose. But his last several New England drafts weren't good. I didn't see the pop players. I didn't see it. Were you surprised on just the lack of anything after the first drive? I mean, there wasn't a lot of offensive symmetry. There wasn't a lot of special players. Were you just surprised at what you watched?
I think surprise is probably too light of a word, Colin. I was shocked. I was, because I'm friends with Coach Belichick. I have the most respect for him you can have. I used to visit the Patriots and go watch him. So there's no better coach I've ever been around than Bill Belichick. And he would gracious enough come down, speak to our teams and our staff. But I turned on that, and I couldn't. I don't know. He's up against it. I'm not sure I know he had some early in his career at Cleveland, which I really didn't study that, but maybe the last few years in New England had some issues too. But I can't imagine when he stands in a team meeting and you're dealing with 17, 18, 19-year-olds that are now being told, should I leave? Should I stay? I can only imagine the nonsense going on in that locker room right now. So surprise is not a strong enough word and once again, all credit to TCU, but they're going to have some tougher games down the road now. TCU's great, but there's also, you got Clemson and Miami and some other ones coming down the road that are really good.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up with this. I don't want to go too crazy, and I know he was a great high school quarterback, but Bryce Underwood at Michigan, Urban.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I could have said he's great. That kid, that is different looking. What do you make of his talent?
I used the term about 4 minutes ago about grown-ass man, and I was shocked. And I mean, again, surprised is not the right word, because I went back and watched every snap, and my God, I mean, that's a junior in college, and he's really not. And his physical presence is Cam Newton-ish. His size, his athleticism, his
Look at these throws. Wow.
I mean, spectacular. And I know, once again, they're not playing a top 10 team yet, and they will coming down the road here. But day one, he might be that guy that walks on campus. Like when I had Percy Harvin, you're just like, that's an absolute freak. Get him ready to play as fast as you can, because and I've heard that about him. Now that you saw it in person, that's legit.
Yeah, I mean, it just jumped off. Wherever you watch that game, it was like magic. I mean, that is a whip. He's got a big arm. He moves. His accuracy doesn't dip when he moves. And Michigan, by the way, does not have great receivers. He's not throwing to Ohio State guys. This is a pretty average receiving core. Look at that.
Yeah, and he's almost like a Roethlisberger, too, as far as, I mean, guys are hanging on him. He's a big cat now.
Urban, great talking to you as always.
Yeah, great to talk to you, Colin.
All right. Yeah, I know everybody thinks I'm getting a little hyper on that. And I said yesterday, Ohio State, I think, is going to control this conference. And I like Oklahoma to beat them, all the juniors and seniors. It's in Norman. I like Oklahoma. But, man, there are sometimes you watch athletes and you're just like, what is that?